What is going on, you wonderful thought-having people, you? Happy Friday, and as always, I'm Jake from Give It Thought, and welcome to the first Friday News Roundup show. Here I'll be getting into all the stories I didn't have time to get to during the week, so let's start with something that I may be beating to death on this channel, and that is No Man's Sky. This isn't really anything about the game, but rather the effect it is having on the industry, and it is getting ridiculous. First, we get the news that Steam no longer allows concept art on their game advertisements on the website. In case you didn't know about that, Valve sent a message to developers that said, regardless of the content in your game, please make sure the images uploaded to the screenshot section of your store page are actually screenshots of your game. Now, we don't know if No Man's Sky is to blame directly because Valve has not explicitly stated that, but due to all the people wanting refunds for the game claiming those pictures were not representative of the final game, I think we can assume that might be the reason. Of course, it could just be Steam clamping down on developers. It's happened before, but I'd put big money on the bet that it was No Man's Sky. Now let's get back to the most recent development in this story. The Video Game Awards, hosted by Geoff Keighly, will not be showing mini game previews, preferring to go with more actual gameplay samples. The reason I bring up Keighly is not just because he is hosting the show, but because in the past he has taken some of the responsibility for the disappointment of No Man's Sky. He told Polygon in a recent interview, "I have thought about the story of No Man's Sky a lot. Did we create this black hole of hype that developers could not pull themselves out of? Some of that was authored by me." So Keighly is, in effect, doing his part to stop this from happening again. And speaking to that point, Keighly said, "There is a good moral of this story, and it's part of what I'm trying to address this year, to have developers be more transparent about the state of their game. I have to say this is really commendable, because if he allows more controversy, then that equals more work for him. It's nice to know someone out there has integrity." But the story is still being written for No Man's Sky and Hello Games. I'd love to know what you guys think is coming next for these poor souls. Be sure to tell me down below. Now, moving on, we have a few story updates on two of the news stories I covered this week. Let's start with the worst one, and by worst, I mean the one that just riled my jimmies. What, nothing has ever riled your jimmies before? So earlier this week, Sony banned a player for sharing a picture from Watch Dogs 2 that they deemed was inappropriate. I feel weird saying this, so let's get it out of my system.
Penis, 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 vagina, vagina, vagina.
Alright, the guy shared a picture of a vagina that was apparently not approved to be made into the game by Ubisoft. And the guy was banned by Sony for a week from accessing the online servers. But now, Ubisoft has spoken out about this. A company spokesperson said, in a statement to IGN, "We are aware of one of the NPC models in Watch Dogs 2 is rendered in a way that is explicit. While Watch Dogs 2 is a mature rated game, we apologize, and will update this NPC model to make it more consistent with the other NPC models in the game in a patch to be released this week." So basically, Ubisoft caved to Sony's outdated censorship and are taking it completely out of the game. I've complained about this enough, but really, Ubisoft, this is where you draw the line? Anyway, the story does have a decent ending at least. The guy who was banned by Sony, whose name is Adam, posted on Twitter that Sony has undone the suspension. We won, I think. They never admitted fault, of course. I wanted to thank everyone for their support today. So the guy got his network privileges back? Yay, I guess. This is just one of those stories that I want to wipe from my memory. And on that note, on to the next story. This is an update to that weird Watch Dogs 2 Easter egg that leaked before the game even released, that showed off a possible space game in development by Ubisoft. Well, turns out it was not what I hoped, which was a Beyond Good and Evil sequel. But at least it turned out to be something. Kotaku, through their own secret sources, have discovered that this is actually a game. Man, I wish I had secret sources. But this game is codenamed Pioneer and has been in development for a while. But it has hit a rocky patch. Most games do at some point, so don't be worried if this game looks good to you. And according to the sources from Kotaku, the project was supposed to be announced next year, which seems odd that they put a preview in Watch Dogs 2. Maybe they're trying to drum up hype, but I'd be careful if I was Ubisoft. We all know what happened to the last space exploration game that was overhyped. But apparently Project Pioneer's staff has been jumbled up a few times, leaving it in an odd state of development. He continued by saying the game will not be announced next year and that Pioneer is currently being retooled. Your guess is as good as mine when it comes to what he means by that, but I would say that the team saw No Man's Sky and is now scared to release this thing. Gosh, No Man's Sky, if I'm right, has really thrown a wrench into the industry, hasn't it? But it looks like Ubisoft was not expecting players to find this Easter egg or something, because another source said when they decided to make the Easter egg in Watch Dogs 2, they didn't know it was going to be like this. so it's a bit awkward. I don't know what they were expecting. I guess the guys at Ubisoft have never been on the internet before. You can't take 2 steps without someone speculating about a speculation. And yeah, I get the irony of that statement, but we'll have to wait and see if Pioneer will actually release or be officially announced at some point. It'll be at least 2 years, but it could turn into something. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I say we start the hype train now. Just kidding. Or am I? This last story is one that just made me happy inside. The price of the Nintendo Switch leaked by way of Toys R Us of all places, and it looks like it will not be that $600 piece of hardware that everyone else expected. People thought it was going to be so high because Nintendo said they will not be selling this console at a loss like they did with the Wii U, which originally ranged from $300 to $350. The Switch has been revealed to cost even less than the Wii U did, which is around 320 Canadian dollars, which translates to about 250 American bucks. This puts it around the price of the most bare PS4 and Xbox One systems, which means that it will be competing with them. And it is the same price as the Wii when it launched. I'm guessing Nintendo is hoping they can capitalize on that same success, and here's to hoping they do. I don't know what was in the Wii U that made it more expensive than the Switch. I mean, the Switch looks way sleeker, and I'd imagine it would require more expensive tech than its predecessor, but I'm not going to argue. If I save a few bucks, you can be sure I'll be satisfied. Oh, and I just wanted to put this in here last second before this video goes up. PS4 mods for Fallout 4 are now live. I'll be checking them out over the weekend, and hopefully I'll be able to give you guys a top 5 list about them or something. Just be on the lookout for that. I literally just beat the update by a few hours with yesterday's video, so I got lucky with that one. But as always, I'd love to hear what you guys think about the Nintendo Switch's price point. It seems just right to me, but I'd say some people will have a problem with it. Also, be sure to tell me what you think about that Pioneer game. I'm really interested to hear what people think about that one. But I think that's where I'm going to have to end things today. If you enjoyed this video, you know what you have to do. Hit that like button for me, and if you're new here, why not hit that subscribe button? It'll put you first in line for all the upcoming gaming news, and I would really appreciate it. And I would recommend yesterday's video, but it's kind of already outdated, so why not go check out the one I did the day before yesterday, which was all about The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild being delayed. Well, kinda. The release date was never really announced, but it has been pushed back a bit, so go check that video out. But I think that's it for me today. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, give thought to everything.